Power Breakfast with Tessa Dooms. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m.
It's 6:21 this morning on Power Breakfast with Tessa Dooms. And the first story that I wanted us to deep dive in today is around the mining sector. So Sibanye has had an incident on the 7th of May, and we had some mine workers, 7 mine workers that have been trapped in that mine for the last few days. Actually, not only 7, my apologies. It was on the 7th of May, but it was 260 that were trapped underground. And so we're going to be looking at that story now with Joseph Mathunjwa, the president of the Association of Mine Workers and Construction Union, AMCU, this morning, just to give us a sense of what is the update there at Sibanye. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're doing well this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. And good morning to your listeners, and thanks for the invite.
Great. So just give us an update on what occurred on the 7th of May and what has now happened in terms of the resurfacing of the miners to the ground.
Yes, thank you. We must just thank God that all those workers, the 260 or so workers, have been rescued to the surface, and I think they are still going under medical supervision and all related procedures. But as AMCO, we've been making this clear call that the Mine Health and Safety Act has to be amended. We feel very strong that it is no longer responsive to the challenges and is very lenient to this corporate negligence that we are experiencing, because every shaft that is synced and mined and workers report to make living, it is by law that it must have an alternative escape route, of which in this instance was Tuturani shaft. And the information that we got from our health and safety shaft steward and the shaft steward at workplace is that the very same shaft was not being looked after to be available for the workers to use when such incident happened. And also there is no record that in maybe within 2 weeks, the shift boss, the mine captain, has to make sure that that shaft is in good condition. So hence the workers were underground for such a long time. And this we could see clearly that is a corporate negligence. And until this government makes sure that they criminalizes this, because these CEOs, they make sure that workers are always being killed because of such degree, because these things are repeatable accidents. How can you take workers underground without checking the escape route that is in order?
No, but Mathunjwa, I just wanted to also find out, you were saying that the regulations are outdated. Is this, though, this particular case, a matter of outdated regulations or a lack of enforcement, even of existing regulations? Because you're saying that there was supposed to be an escape route shaft, and in this case, it was not functional. Is there a problem here with also oversight and making sure that these regulations are adhered to? And also, what has happened to the mine since they have not adhered to having that shaft open?
It's both. It cut both. One is an enforcement of the safety laws. 2, it's accountability. Hence, we are saying if such negligence, this corporate negligence occurred, these companies must be the appointee, the person who is appointed by the government or by Mine Health and Safety Act, the mine manager, must be full accountable. The CEO of the company must be liable, must be criminally charged in these instances.
So it's not enough just to celebrate that the mine workers have resurfaced, but you're saying that there has to be some kind of steps taken. Who is meant to institute those? Are you, as AMCU, able to go and lay those charges? Are you asking that the department does their job in this instance? Who's able to trigger that?
We as a union, we can, but the power lies with the DMR, Department of Mineral and Resources, of which I think a month ago, we've written to the Minister of DMRE, Mr. Mathunjwa, for his intervention as a minister, because already we are sitting at 32 breadwinners that have been killed by this mine from January to date.
Sure.
And then Harmony had killed 9 workers this year.
Sure.
And without any accountability, and some of these fatalities, it's corporate negligence. It's something that could have been avoided. And for instance, at Kloof Mine, there is no sanction that has been issued by DMRE. 2 sanctions are very important. Section 54 of Mine Health and Safety Act, it stopped the operation and gives the mine an opportunity to investigate, to get the source of the problem. What causes that accident? If it's not Section 54 closing the shaft for certain period, Section 55 at least, it gives them a period of about maybe, let's say, 1 month, go and investigate, check, give us a report. None of these 2 sections were issued against mine. And it's quite clear why the MRE does not issue this is because the price of gold is high. It's a gold rush. So they just neglect anything. The government is very scared. These mines are untouchable because we can say without any fear of any contradiction, some of these mines, they sponsor these political parties when they do their political campaign for elections. So now they cannot bite the hand that feeds them.
Sure. But I think this is a really important conversation because I first learned about you, Mathunjwa, when we were in the midst of the Marikana crisis. And I remember how the country's attention was turned to the miners when they were protesting. But in a time when you had 260 miners underground, and you're saying that over 30 miners have died this year alone on the job. The fact that that has not gotten national attention is an indictment on us. It is truly an indictment on us because we cannot only look at people's plight when they are on the protest and picket lines and when they're being shot at, but not actually when they're on the job in jeopardy. Because Jiggy, tomorrow we sit with a situation where we have a protest and we don't understand these backstories. So I really appreciate you painting this picture, but also an appeal now to our government, to the Department of Mineral Resources, to Gwede Mantashe, to really step in here and step up. And I think this is something we're going to have to pursue and really ask questions about what happens here in this instance. Just a quick one, Barbara, just before we go to news. When people are stuck underground like that, 260 people for that period of time since the 7th of May, how would they have been surviving underground?
Yes, I mean, in some instances, they try with other means, for instance, to send water if there is a possibility. But in some instances, there is nothing until such time they get the team called the proto team, that they've got a vast experience of how to access the mine in different spaces, of which a normal person cannot use those routes because it's dangerous. There's gases of which if you can inhale, you can collapse and even die. Some is very hot, but those proto team guys are trained, they've got equipment, they've got all the safety equipment that they can risk and go through to access the area. That's why each and every shaft which is working, it must have an escape route.
The escape route.
Exactly, that is maintained.
Absolutely.
and is checked regularly.
No, thank you so much for painting that picture for us, and we definitely do want to speak to the ministry and find out what steps they'll be taking. That was Joseph Mathunjwa, the president of the Association of Mine Workers and the Construction Union, just giving us an update there on the Stillwater Sibanye mine workers that were stuck.